Hey everybody, Wayne here. In today's Let's Play, we're going to do a tutorial playthrough of In the Name of Justice, the Battle of Lewes 1264. This is a Grand Tactical Scale Hex Encounter chip pull wargame, so good solo, designed by Gutt and published by White Dog Games. I've already done a recon in one of my unboxings. Like I said, this will be a tutorial playthrough. I hope to get through a whole game here in the video. We will see. But I'll definitely make sure you guys know exactly how to play and kind of see how the game plays out. And then I will have a overview and review video coming as well. So let's get to it. All right, so I'm not going to explain the whole history of the conflict and the war it's part of. I'll cover it a little bit more when I do my overview review. But basically in the game here, you have two sides. You have the baronial sides, the barons, and they are the gold-colored units up here, which this is the initial setup, and this is the designer's setup. There's three different setups, similar other than it's where the units are placed on the map, but there's no huge changes on swap size or anything like that, just kind of where the individual wards would be placed. So the gold-colored units, again, are the baronials, led by Simon de Montfort. He is up here, kind of in reserve behind the main line. And then the royalists, led by King Henry III. Now, as you can see, the units are kind of broken up. So you can see there's a silver line, right, for the royalists, the gold line up here for the baronials. And you can see that they're kind of grouped together, right? Those are the individual wards. And that is where the chit pull comes in. So you'll have a cup with the different leader activations in it, and you're going to draw from it every turn. Now, when you draw from it, it's very simple. You're going to have very clear Henry III activation. So now you find the Henry III leader out here. He will then have a command range on his counter, and that the bottom right is the movement. Command range is the blue number there, so his is 4. So then you will go ahead and basically trace a line to see how many units are in command or not, or which units are in command or not, I should say. If they're out of command, you go ahead and mark them with an out of command marker. There's a gold side and a silver side. So for each of the adversaries here, you'll mark them if they're out of command. Obviously, that has negative effects on them. The command range is blocked by enemy zones of control or enemy units. So you want to make sure that, as you're moving your wards, you're moving your units around, that they are going to kind of stay within that command range, if possible, of your leader. You give them, as they activate, you see who's in command. You're then going to check for a recovery. So any units that are flipped over onto their depleted side, which we'll go ahead and take a look at them quick. You have the front side, and you have a depleted side with a white stripe on the back. Pretty standard, Hex Encounter type units. You have combat factor, morale factor, and then movement factor. And I'll go into that a little bit as we play. Of course, you'll really get used to them. After the recovery, the command and recovery phase, you'll have a movement phase. Using your movement factor, you're going to go ahead and be moving. If you notice here, the baronials are up on this hill. That's a big part of the game and big part of the battle is the fact that they are up on this hill, and the royals are going to have to be going up the hill to get to them. After movement, there's actually defensive missile fire. And what that is any non-active ward unit that's within missile fire range of your active ward. So in this case, we had Henry III. If there was anyone that was in range from the baronials, so say this archer here had been, close enough to fire at him, they'd get a chance to fire at him. Then you go to the offensive missile fire, so any of your missile units, which in this game you have archers and you have slingers. And then finally, melee combat. Conduct all the melee combat. Any adjacent units have to be attacked. And then you wrap up a turn, and then you go and you draw the next chit. You're basically drawing these leaders, activating your wards. You never know which ward's going to activate. Again, another reason it's good for solitaire. And eventually, though, after the first one, you always get one full activation or one ward activation. There is going to be an end turn chit gets put in the cup after the first one. And if that gets drawn, very simple, game turn ends. You move the game turns along. See, the turn track here starts at 5 a.m., goes up to 4 p.m. Some of the scenarios start at different times. For instance, the designer setup here, it's not a scenario, but just sort of the setups. The designer setup here I have starts at 6 a.m., so just basically one turn into the game. you play till the end, or you play till a army leader gets captured. So in addition to the ward leaders, right, we talked about different ward leaders. Someone like King Henry III is technically an army leader. Now, a regular ward leader, say Cornwall here for the Royalists, if he gets captured, you flip it over, and a substitute leader takes over. He'll have a less of a command rating, not as good of a leader. If he then gets captured at that point, he actually is removed from the game. The ward's units may be removed from the game as well. And then at the very end, when you're going to check for victory points, you're going to see who has the most command ratings captured. However, and again, Cornwall, you have Prince Edward over here. The Royalists have Seagrave, De Clare, Henry Montfort, Simon Montfort, Pevelston. However, Simon Montfort and King Henry III, if they are captured, the game ends automatically, and the other side claims victory. So while you will end up with regular leaders captured, you really do not want your army leader captured, because then game over for you, and the other side wins. Let's see. I think that covers the basics of it. Again, you're going to see it in action here in just a minute, so I think let's get to the actual playthrough. All right, first turn, 6 a.m. Let's go ahead and start drawing our chits. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and draw one, then we'll put the end turn chit in the cup. First one is Henry Montfort Activation. So you can see he's the gold color, so one of the baronial forces. I like to set the chit right there so I kind of know who I'm activating. And we'll take the end turn chit, throw it in the cup. Now, keep in mind a couple things here. With this setup, forces are a little ways away, so the first couple turns, there's going to be a lot of movement involved, less direct fighting. They're going to kind of maneuver into position, and then they're engaging combat. So what I'll do is I'll probably just leave the camera where it is for the movement. And then when we get into our first combats, I'll zoom in a little bit so you guys can see things better. But I'm not going to keep moving the camera every single time or anything like that, because that would just be a little too tedious for the whole game. So, all right. So Henry Montfort Activation. So Henry Montfort, you can see his ward right over here. First off, you can check for command. Now everyone's in command range, nothing blocked, anything like that. He has a command range of 3. And you also call that IR, the IR number influence range. That'll come into play when we do the melee combat modifiers. So check for recovery. None of them are disrupted, so no need for any of that. Go to movement. Now I'm going to say that they are going to push down towards the Royals. They're not just going to hang up on the hill the whole time, so I'm going to have them push down. Historically, I believe the baronials basically kind of stood their ground and then waited, and then the royal forces, the royalist forces, charged up the hill. But we're not going to play it that way. We're going to play a little bit more aggressive here. So we want to get into some combat and show the game off a little bit. So let's go ahead and have them start moving. Now, one of the things you do is you have the units. There is a stacking limit of, it's called 4 combat factors. So, something like, say, these 2 slingers here, they're each 2 combat factor each. So I just have them stacked together. But you cannot stack units of different types. So we have, infantry, slingers. We have the leaders stacked with heavy cavalry here. And we have an archer over here. So, but anyway, let's start moving them. And again, the hill terrain here is a big part of it. So you move either units, one at a time, whatever you want. Use the tweezers if you want. Right now, it's not as difficult. I'm not going to use the tweezers because they're all separated. Once they're together, I'll use the tweezers a lot more. So, all right, let's see. Let's get the slingers closing in. They have movement of 4. So 1, 2, I don't want to go too far away. 3, out onto the road here. Infantry here. 1, 2, and then dropping down an elevation. 3, 4. The leader. And he's on a cavalry, which I have movement of 6. 1, 2. 3, 4. Did he drop down all the way? He's actually going to stay up on the hill, I think. And then we'll continue with infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the archer. 1, 2, 3. And then he can't move anymore. So, okay, held the line pretty well there. Actually, worked out pretty well. So, and if you guys know, when I play my solitaire game, generally, I'll kind of move the units, one at a time. If things end up kind of disrupted, like, oh, miscalculated the movement a little bit, I just generally live with it because I don't want to, you know, act like, oh yeah, but I have to plan everything out perfectly. Nah, when I'm playing him solo, that's not how I do it. So anyway, that was a movement phase. Defensive missile fire phase. No enemies, so no royal, you know, silver units here. None of their missile units are anywhere close. The slingers have a range of 1, so adjacent. Then the archers have a range of 2 hexes, with a negative, by the way, to their attack. Offensive missile fire, same thing. No one's in range. Melee combat, no one's adjacent. So that's it for old Henry Montfort. So just set it aside and draw another one. What word? Oh, end turn. Okay, so see that happen. So end turn chit. So what you do is you go ahead and now you would remove any charge markers that are on any of the cavalry. We'll get to that when we get to combat. Don't worry, guys. There are none out because we haven't had that happen. We only had 1 ward activate. So go ahead and move the game turn from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. And we'll put the Henry Montfort chit back into the cup and draw again. And you would check, you know, the end of turn, you know, again, you remove the marker, you know, anything like that, check for victory points at the end of the game, but no worries there. All right, Pevelsden activation. So, Pevelsden, excuse me, Pevelsden. Pevelsden is one of the reserve units for, or the reserve wards, I should say, for the baronial forces. And we'll go ahead and put that turn shit in there so I don't forget it. Pevelsden, since he is a reserve, we're just going to skip our turn. We're not going to move or anything because we want to make sure we stay back here. Once everything else starts moving up, we'll probably start moving up with them, but we don't want to get, you know, carried away, choose a side yet because we're the reserves, right? We want to wait till we see maybe a need of where we need to be on the front here. So we're not going to move. We still would have our turn, so you know, check for command. Obviously, it's the beginning. Everyone's in command. No need for recovery. We're not going to move, and there's not going to be any combat with him. So set him aside. Go to the next shit. Cornwall activation. All right, so our first royal force here. So our Cornwall here, we have our leader right here. His influence range is 3. Our command range is 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. Everyone's in command. At the beginning, everyone's in command for sure. So, but you kind of want to stay in the habit, right, of checking it. No need for recovery. And now movement. Oh yeah, they're definitely going to move. So here's where it's going to get a little tricky because we're going to be moving uphill. So we're not going to be able to move very fast or very far. We're kind of, I think, going to go this way straight towards the line. We don't want to. We could try to start flanking Henry Montfort, but then we would possibly get flanked by Declare or Seagrave here. We don't want that, so we're going to kind of head this way. So let's go ahead and start moving up. Movement factor, again, basically every infantry has 4 infantry. You know, archers have 4 movement factor, if you haven't noticed. And then the cavalry has 6, which with Cornwall, all we have is the heavy cavalry that he's stacked with as the leader. So let's go ahead and move. Let's see. Is that up 1 yet? Nope, it's not. So we'll go ahead and move 1. And then going uphill, we'll add an additional, I think it's 2. And I added 1 when I was going downhill, by the way. Adds 2 to the cost. So, and the cost is of a clear hex is 1. So it makes it basically 3. So 1, then, yep, 2, 3, 4. So 1, and then takes 3 to move uphill. Let's go ahead and finish that up here. Let's see. 1, 2, and we'll stop there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, and then for cavalry, it costs, I think it's 4 to move up. Yep, 4 to move up when he's not charging. So 1, it'll be a total of 4. So that's a total of 5. And he'll stand here, stop here. He doesn't want to move ahead of all of his forces or anything. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. 1, 2, stop here. 1, 2, stop here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Cornwall moved up a little bit. As you can see, yep, takes a little minute. That's why I said the first couple turns, it's going to be a little bit more of maneuvering. Check for defensive missile fire. No one's in range. He's the closest. He's actually only 1, 2. He's 3 hexes away, so we can't fire at him, but he's close. And he may be able to get, depending on what happens here in activations, who activates, he may try to move up there. But anyway, offensive missile fire, no one in range. Melee, no one adjacent. Done with Cornwall's activation. On to the next shit. Let's see, what ward will activate now? Could be anybody. Henry III, very nice. Good for, and what I like to do, there's one chit, and you'll see it actually is, it's double-sided. So what I do is, I usually draw it and I place it here. I've been kind of holding it up so you guys can see it a little better. But basically, if it's, assuming it's zooming in and properly showing it, which, whatever, I'm telling you what it is anyway. But anyway, one of them is double-sided. So you do want to be aware that when you're drawing it, and hopefully we'll get to it eventually. You just want to kind of pick a side as you're drawing it, and then show that side, and then that's the side. Because otherwise, playing solo, if it says, one's royal and one's baronial forces, well, which one do you want to activate? I mean, I would rather not choose. I want the game to choose for me, especially when playing solitaire. But anyway, Henry III activating. So his ward here, check everybody looks good. And I think we're going to be able to get in some combat here. So this is actually going to work out pretty well for them. Yeah, absolutely it is. So what we're going to do is, seeing that we have some of the forces of Henry Montfort's coming off the hill, we're going to go ahead and try to move this way. So activating command. Everyone's in command. No need for any recovery. So let's go to movement here. Let's go ahead and move up. And let's see. I think what I'll do, yep, let me see, here's what I'm trying to double check. So clear movement, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, yeah. And with Henry, we're going to do a charge movement. So we are basically declaring a charge. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go ahead and place the charge marker on him. The charge with the cavalry, because he's stacked with, it's not Henry the leader doing it, it's the heavy cavalry stacked with. They can do what's called a charge if they move at least basically 2 hexes. One of them's not an enemy zone of control, and then they move in adjacent to an enemy. So pretty simple, right? If you move 2 hexes, first one would not be zone of control, and boom, charging the enemy. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And he can stack with him. He's going to go ahead and do that. 4. 1, 2. They're not going to be able to really get up there, huh? 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll do 1, 2, 3. And Henry the archer here will go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. That's pretty far away. Yeah, but he's going to get up there, and he's going to kind of stand by over here. So, all right, movement is done. Now we'll have defensive missile fire. Now what I'm going to do, so you guys can see better, I'm going to go ahead and bring the camera down. All right, we're all zoomed in on Henry III, his ward, and remember, he's the army commander as well. He has moved up. His ward is now adjacent to Henry Montfort's, and there's going to be some fighting here. You're going to see defensive missile fire, offensive missile fire, and melee combat. So that's why I wanted to zoom in, and we got our dice tower over here. So, all right, so we did finished up all of our movement here. Let's go ahead and go into defensive missile fire. You can see there are, oh, he is not, so he's actually still out of range, the archer, Henry Montfort's archer. However, his 2 slingers right here are in range. And let's see, they're itching to do some damage here. So I think what they're gonna do, they don't want to get flanked. They also have, they are surrounded. They got all kinds of royal forces threatening them. So they're gonna go ahead and choose these infantry that are kind of coming up on their flank over here. So they're gonna do, very simple for missile fire, and I'll have the tables pop up here so you guys can see it. But for missile fire, you just look at their combat factor. In melee combat, you'll look at their combat factor, the offensive forces, and whoever you're attacking. With missile, you just look at yours. You add up all the combat factors, which in this case is a 2 and 2, so 4. Pretty simple. So that sum is 4, and you're gonna check for some modifiers. From missile fire, there's only like 4 modifiers. Basically, are units at a higher or lower elevation? Are you firing on cavalry? Are you firing at a range of a certain 2 hexes for an archer? So, 2 hexes instead of just 1. And then is the offensive firing unit out of command? So your actual firing unit. In this case, there's going to be no modifiers because he's firing at this infantry next to him. Same elevation, we're not talking about archers, and no one's out of command. So go ahead and roll on the chart with a combat factor of 4. A 5, which is a hit. So a hit, because it's 2 units stacked, They both take a hit, so they both are flipped over to their disrupted side, which means you can see their combat factors dropped, their morale factors dropped. Not good for that infantry there for Henry III. So, but that's the point of the defensive misfire, kind of softens up the enemy a little bit. Later on, you'll see that missile units, they can't eliminate another unit. All they can do is weaken them. Basically, they can just cause disruptions, cause hits, but none of their hits are going to cause an elimination. Even if they, kind of rout the unit, make it retreat, it's still not going to eliminate it. Okay, that's it for defensive misfire. Now we'll do offensive missile fire, which I don't think there's anyone in range. Nope. So again, Henry, his 1-2, yep. His archer, because it went up the hill here, wasn't able to make it far enough, close enough, so it's not able to do anything. And all he has is the one archer unit. So that's it for the offensive missile fire phase. Now we'll do melee combat. So let's go ahead and we're going to determine our combats here. We have infantry adjacent here. We have our charging cavalry combined with our leader. More infantry and more infantry. Let's go ahead and we'll do 2 combats here. Try to sweep them up here. So what we're going to do is these 2 will attack the slingers right here. So what we'll do is we'll look at the combat factors. Again, we have 1, 2. Henry III's infantry here is 4, so a total of 6. And 6 versus 4. Remember, for melee, you're comparing combat factors. So you divide. So 6 divided by 4, 1.5. Now in this game, you do round up, so that 1.5 becomes a 2. So when we check the column on the melee, CRT, we're going to use the 2 column. So, all right, now we'll check for modifiers. With melee combat, there are a bunch of modifiers. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Once you're used to the game, it's really easy. But let's just kind of go down them and figure it out here. So first off, you check for your leader, their IR, which remember, it's kind of the command range, command rating, or influence rating. So that's the number that's on the unit. So a 4 for Henry III. Again, he's the army leader. If you're within that, which we are, and by the way, that is not blocked during this phase, during combat, not blocked by enemies' units or enemies' zone of control. For an army leader, we get a +3. Now, check for elevation. These are all in the same elevation, or they came down on the kind of the lowest elevation, the plane here. So no modifiers there. If there's an active cavalry unit attacking with a charge marker, that's later, because we're going to do another combat here later. So none of that. Is it infantry? Is it cavalry attacking missile? No. Is it infantry attacking missile? Yes. And we have 1, 2, 3 units attacking. So each one is going to get a bonus. So so far we have the 3 from the army leader, and then 1, 2, 3 from attacking missile unit with infantry. So that's a total of +6. Are we attacking a unit out of command? No. Are we attacking a cavalry that has a charge marker on it? No. So total of +6. Now you check their unit for any modifiers. Are the attackers lower terrain? Anything like that? There's a defender inside the castle or behind walls or anything like that. And then we look at the army leader. They have not an army leader, they have their ward leader. They are within range, 1, 2 of his number. His IR is 3. So they get a -2, or we have a -2 to our roll. So our +6 becomes a +4. So on the 2 row, we go ahead and roll with a +4. Roll the 4, +4 is 8. So 7 or greater is going to be a hit. So just like with our stack of infantry, we're going to go ahead and flip them both over. Fortunately, with a combat factor, or a combat roll, or whatever you want to call it, our actual combat number of only 2, we didn't get a chance to eliminate them. Otherwise, if we had had 3 or higher, we would have had an E, which is an eliminated result. But that's okay. We still definitely reduce their power here. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here on this infantry. We have he should be 4, I believe. Yep, so 4 for the cavalry, and then 4 here. It's a total of 8 divided by 4 is 2, so we'll check the 2 column again. Let's go ahead and run through our modifiers. We have army leader. In fact, he's involved in combat, so +3. No elevation differences. We do have an active cavalry attacking with the charge marker right here, so that's +5. No other modifiers except they're negative because of within range of their leader. So that -2 goes on our +5, so it becomes a +3. Go ahead and roll. +3 on the 3 row, or the 3 column, excuse me, for the total of 7. Excuse me, on the 2, because remember we have 8 combat factor divided by their 4, so that's a 2. That is, yep, that is a hit. So go ahead and flip him over to reduced. I was hoping we'd be able to eliminate some of these units and kind of turn the flank immediately, but we were not able to, and that's okay. So, and I think that is it for the melee combats, because we had both these units who were adjacent, did combat, both these units did combat. If you have an active ward, if you have one of your melee units adjacent, you have to engage, also infantry or cavalry, have to engage in melee combat with the enemy if you're adjacent, which all of ours did. So that's it for us. So then we'll go on to the next chit. All right, next chit, next ward. And it is Seagrave activation for the baronial rebel forces. Seagrave is over here. He definitely he knows, there's some fighting over here. Definitely wants to kind of maybe set the left flank a little bit. He doesn't want the left flank to get turned by Prince Edward's cavalry, though. So he's going to be careful. But what he's going to do is he's going to kind of move down. I think he's going to kind of move down to the edge maybe of the raised area. And then hold tight over. Make sure that Prince Edward can't turn the flank. So I'll go ahead and he will start moving his units. So command and recovery phase again. First, command, everyone's in command. They're still in their starting locations, so no need for recovery either. So we go to movement phase. Let's move downhill here. We'll kind of move a little bit to the left, again, just to kind of hold that flank a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And they can't move down. They don't have enough move points there. 1, 2, 3. And again, they can't move down, but that's okay. Get a little line here and still holding relatively solid here. Maybe open up a little bit of gap, but we'll see what happens. So none of the combats, no one's in range of anything, so no combat. So on to the next shit. Prince Edward activates. There you go, just who we were talking about. Speak of the devil. So for the royals, Prince Edward, go ahead and activate. He's definitely going to charge uphill, start trying to do some damage here. So what he's going to do, though, seeing them kind of move up, I think he's going to kind of try to move this way a little bit so we can get on their level as opposed to coming from the lower elevation and being a little bit harder on them. So check for command and recovery. Everyone's in command. Let's do movement here. Now, for horses, for cavalry, it does, unfortunately, like I said before, it takes moving uphill into clear terrain, so it adds 3. So clear terrain is 1, right? So it takes 4. So that does take a bit. So 4, 5, and then I'll have to stop there. 1, then 4, total of 5. He'll have to stop there. 1, additional 4, total of 5, stop there. You get the idea, guys. 1, oops. 5, there we go. 1, 2, 4. He can move up there. Okay, so we will. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And he'll stop there just to make sure they don't get turned, their flank turned by Seagrave. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it'll go there. All right, perfect. So they moved up. Kind of a bunch of them got up on the elevation at least a little bit. And we kind of hold the flank here to make sure that doesn't get turned by Seagrave. So, perfect. And then no combats. Actually, let me double check. Oh, yeah, nope, yep, no one's in range. No archers are in range or anything like that. So, no combats. Again, remember I said with this scenario, and I kind of like it, actually. I like this scenario set up better than some of the other ones. And I played them all. Is that because of the fact they are a little farther apart, although the first couple turns, it's a lot more movement. I like that. Having that flexibility, having my choice as the commander, right? I get to choose what's kind of happening. As opposed to one of the setups, and turn shit. One of the setups has the units kind of like right next to each other, basically. So like they're engaging in combat. You don't get to do a whole lot of maneuver. It's basically just whoop, everyone meets and there's one big line of fighting. Fun, but I kind of like a little bit of maneuver too. So anyway, the end game chit. So what we do is we have that charge marker, remember, over here on King Henry III. Go ahead and get rid of that bad boy. And then we'll go ahead and move the game turn marker to 8. Put all the activation chits back in the cup. And start of a new turn. I think that was it for the charge, right? Yep, that's all the charges we had. Okay. Let's draw. So first one, Simon Montfort. Okay. Put the end turn shit in there. So Simon Montfort, he is the, the rebel baron that, kind of was leading this rebellion against King Henry III. He is up here in the reserve. I think he senses a little bit of trouble over Henry Montfort over here with where King Henry III is. So I think he's going to start heading that way. So let's go ahead. Command recovery. Everyone's in command range. He doesn't have a huge force here, just a reserve force. Start moving, though, towards King Henry III, I think. So for movement, 1, 2, yeah, we'll do 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he'll stop. He'll stop there. All right, and then no range for combat or anything like that. So next chit. So I think, yeah, he wants to kind of back up him. I think he sees some trouble over here. Oh, we'll see, though. Oh, and then Henry Montfort. So speaking of the devil here. So, again, I'm not going to exactly zoom in. Sorry, guys. I just, messing with the camera constantly. This would take all day to film. But hopefully you guys can kind of see enough that you'll get a gist of the battle, and I'll talk as I go, as usual, as I like to do. So, Henry Montfort activating again. So he, ward leader over here. We had check command. So this now gets a little bit more important with command. Now that you're engaged with the enemy, you want to make sure command, right? Which 1, 2, and everyone, and there's no block by zone of control or enemy units, so everyone's in command here. So no out of command units. Recovery, we do have 3 disrupted units. However, they cannot be in an enemy zone of control to roll for recovery, so they're not able to recover this turn. Now movement. Definitely want to get some forces brought to bear here. So what they're going to do now, if you're in an enemy zone of control, first off, you can leave an enemy zone of control, but you cannot re-enter. So we're going to do a couple things here. One, we're going to get our slingers. They're going to get out of there. So they're going to move back here. And they wouldn't be able to move, back into an enemy zone of control. Not that they want to anyway. They want to move back because they want to try to recover maybe next turn, next activation if they get one. They don't need to be adjacent to the enemy like that. That's not good for them being adjacent to the infantry at all. And then we will go ahead and we'll leave the infantry here, and we'll leave Henry Montfort and his cavalry. But then we'll move the actual leader, and we'll move his infantry downhill here. 1, 2, 3, easy movement and adjacent to the enemy. And then this archer, let's go ahead and move him. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Should I move that far away? Yeah, we'll move him here. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay, I think that's it for movement. Yep. Now, defensive missile fire, which defensive missile fire, right here. So Henry III's archers here are adjacent, and they're within range, they have a range of 2. So they're going to do some fire. Now, modifiers are pretty quick on that. I think you guys can see the dice tower, right? You can see the result. Yep. Okay, cool. Firing unit, lower, higher elevation. Now, he is firing at a higher elevation, and you can see the elevation lines here. They're all pretty clear. Once all the units are all stuck together, it's a little harder to see the lines, but right now it's super easy. When the map's clear, super easy to see. So he is at a lower, so that's a -1. However, there's no other minuses. He's within 1 hex, nothing, he's in command, all that. So, yeah, so 1d6 with a -1, and we'll check his 2 combat factors. So check the 2 row on the missile fire table. So -1, right? So a 4 on the 2 is no result. So he would have to roll with the -1. He would have to roll a 6 to get a hit. So unfortunately for him, no effect. Now offensive missile fire. Henry Montfort's forces here. He has 2 slingers. They only have a range of adjacent, 1 hex. So no good there. However, his archer now is overlooking Henry III's archers, which shot at him and missed. He's feeling a little better. So he is at a higher, so he gets a +1, not a -1. Same row, 2. So roll on that. 6 + 1 is 7. That is a hit. Again, you can't have an elimination result with an archer, or excuse me, with any ranged unit, missile unit. But he is reduced, so he did get him. He got him good there. All right. Now we will go to the melee combat phase. Let's see. Well, so we're looking, I think what they're going to do, Henry Montfort's forces are going to focus on this stack here of infantry. They they don't really have a good chance to get the leader at all. So they're going to go ahead and try to blunt this guy who's pushing into their line anyway. So what do we have here? Assume he's going to be a 4. Yep. And what is Henry Montfort's cavalry? It's a 2. So, all right. Yep, they're going to, all these 3 are going to attack him. So you add up all their combat factors. 2, 3, 4. That's 8 divided by, there's a total of 4 in this stack. So 2, right? Checking the 2 row. And now we'll check for modifiers. They have their ward leader, so that's +2. They are attacking from higher elevation, so that is +2 as well. So that's a total of +4. And then their army leader, though, for Henry III, because he's the army leader, is a -3. So the +4 becomes only a +1. So +1 on the 2 row for melee. A 6, though, that's a hit. Okay, not, yeah, you can't get elimination on the 2 row. That's right. But it is a hit, which, unfortunately for old Henry III, that reduces both units. Wow, brutal. Okay. All right, and I think that's it for the melee combat there. Yep. So that is it for Henry Montfort's activation. On to the next. Pevelsden. So Pevelsden, remember up here. Oh, no, where is Pevelsden? That's right, Pevelsden's reserve up here. Okay. Let's see. So he activates. What's he going to do? Well, because he's already got units over here. They could kind of move this way. So really his focus will be down here. I think he's going to kind of move up a little bit, just get a little bit closer kind of the action down maybe this way, Seagrave, or declare here if he ever gets an activation. Move a little closer there. So Pevelsden activates. Everyone's in command, of course. No need for recovery. Movement, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And unlike others, by the way, Pevelsden, I think he's the only leader that is stacked with infantry. He doesn't have any cavalry as part of his ward. So he does not have that nice little bonus. He's kind of a cavalry unit, but as the combat units he's stacked with, yeah, no, just infantry. So that's it. There's a small ward, so pretty easy there, and obviously not in range for any combats. Look at that, three baronial activations in a row. No, I think the royals are due. The royals are due. Boom, and they do. Henry III, beautiful. They are ready for this for sure. So, all right, we'll check for command. We have. Looks like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, just in command. So everyone's in command. We'll check for recovery. There's no one in his, he's not in anyone's enemy zone of control, I should say. This stack of infantry right here. So they're going to go ahead and try for recovery. I think it's the first time I've rolled for that. So basically, remember, it's the middle green number is morale factor. This is where it comes into play. They only have a 1 on each of these, unfortunately, for these infantry. They're kind of lower quality than some of the other ones. But that means each one gets to roll a 1d6. If they roll equal to the morale factor or less, they recover. So with a 1, pretty low chance. The first unit, a 6. No, you want low. And second unit, a 5. So they usually don't recover. However, guys like these who have, flip them over, higher quality infantry, they have a 3 morale factor. So they recover quite often. So no good there. They are adjacent to the enemy. And then same with them, the cavalry here. Or excuse me, the archers here. Whew, okay. So let's do movement. Let's see. Kind of. What should we do? Okay, I think I see what we're gonna do here. So for movement, let's go ahead, start getting some of these units up here. So this infantry is gonna move up here so that he is adjacent to him. And we're gonna go ahead and move these out here. 1, 2. Then move here. 3. And we'll go ahead and move. Let's see. 1, 2. 1, 2. And I think we'll leave him right there for now. So kind of almost a little bit of reserve on for Henry III. So, okay, movement is taken care of. Defensive missile fire. So they do get to do defensive missile fire now. These slingers here, and then we have our archers over here. So slingers will go ahead and shoot. They're going to shoot at this infantry right here. They have their dropped. Remember, they only are 1 each because they're disrupted. So a total of 2 combat factors. And no modifiers. They're on the same level. All that stuff. Same elevation. So they're going to shoot at him. A 1 with the 2 row is no result. NR, no result. So nothing there. Archer here, he's going to go ahead and shoot at this infantry here. 1, 2, range of 2. He has a higher elevation, so he gets a +1, but he's a range of 2, -1, so that's a total of 0. So straight die roll on the 2 row. A 1, again, no result. So poor rolls there. Offensive fire. Let's see. Again, I think Henry III, all he has is Archer here. He definitely wants, he's going to keep shooting at him right here. Probably could have pulled back to kind of reserve or try to recover later, but nope, he wants to keep shooting. So go ahead and shoot at him. It's a -1 for higher elevation, so rolls at a 1. Actually, I think with the 1, looking at the thing, 5 -1 is 4. The 1 row. So, no, if he rolls this, yeah, with the 1, he needed, basically with the -1, he can't get a hit on him at a higher elevation. So he probably should have moved. He should have moved. Oh, well. Too late now. All right. Time for the melee combat. Let's see here. Definitely want to keep... Oh, she'd been able to move up. Did he have space to move up? Did I not move him up at all for some reason? Or did he try to move? That's how far I made it. I don't know. I feel like he should have moved up. But anyway, whatever. If I made a mistake, too late now. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to do these two. We'll attack him right here. So we have 4, 5, 6 divided by 2. So that is 3. And these are these 2 infantry stacks, or 3 infantry units overall, attacking the 2 missile units. So we check for army leader. Henry III, army leader's in the IR. So that is +3. Same elevation. However, it's an infantry attacking missile, and it's 1, 2, 3 of them. So that's a total of +6. Their ward leader right here in range gives it a -2 on that. So the +6 becomes only a +4. So +4 on the 3 row. So that's a total of 8. So that is, if 7 or higher is eliminated. So both of these are automatically eliminated. No save. No chance to roll. All right. Now, with that, they get to go ahead and advance. Advance for combat. Should do him. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to advance the weaker ones. We want to advance him. So, perfect. Now we will continue attacking this infantry right here with basically everyone. So, let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 versus 2. So, 10 divided by 2 is 5, and they're on the same level. Like I said, 10 divided by 2 is 5. Yep, 5. And so we'll check for modifiers. We have army leaders 3. I don't think elevation's the same. I don't think there's any other modifiers. And then their ward leader -2. So only a +1, but we are on the 5 row, which is 4 or greater. That's a 4 on 4 or greater. That's a hit. So he is reduced already. So now he has to make a morale check. He has a 3 morale factor. So he has to roll a 1, 2, or 3 to succeed. He rolls a 3. He does succeed. So he gets to do a retreat. So he will go ahead and retreat to this hex right here. Yep, there we go. So, unfortunately for Henry III, did not get an elimination, but he could push him back. So, okay, I guess. You know, kind of push our line back a little bit. All right, I think that's it for the combat for Henry III. Let's go ahead and set him aside. All right, yep. On to the next. Prince Edward activates. So again, he's trying to get up here and kind of almost flank, get up on the same elevation as Seagrave here. So, command and recovery. Command, everyone's in command. 1, 2, 3, close, but yeah, he's in command. No need for recovery, no one's reduced. They're going to go ahead and do their movement, which I think we may be able to get some charges in, actually, now that I look at it. So, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, definitely. So he's going to declare charge. So he will go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's a charge. One, 2, that's a charge. Let's do 1, 2, move him up in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that'll be fine. He'll do a charge as well. 1, total of 4, so that's a 5. Or total of 5, I should say. Charge there. One, 2, and he'll do a charge as well. 3. Woo, lots of charging. A big old charge. And I think the rest of these will stand strong. I think he was the last one left. He had to move, but he's just going to stand strong there. So, all right, let's see what we can do here. So, what we'll do is, I think we're going to have these 2 units attack their leader. Just try. And then these 2 will attack this lone little infantry right here. So, all right, so charging, whatever, it's all the same as combat, when we get to it. So hang on. We did our movement. So defensive missile fire. Seagrave, all he has are the slingers. They only have a range of 1, remember, so anyone adjacent, so no one for them to attack. Do offensive missile fire. Prince Edward's ward only has heavy cavalry, no archers or slingers, so no missile combat at all. So we'll go to melee combat. Let's go ahead and carry out this first one right here. I believe... Oh, he is higher than him. So a little harder to figure out, but we got this, no problem. So first off, let's just look at our combat factors. So 4 plus 4, 8. Divided by 2 is 4. So we're rolling the 4 row. And then we will go ahead and start checking our modifiers. Now we have our active ward leader is right here. That's total plus 2. We're the same elevation, no higher elevation anyway, from here. Same elevation there. Cavalry attacking with charge. We have 2 of them. So that's total plus 4. So right now we're at plus 6. Plus 6 total. Their ward leader is right here. 1, 2. So that's a minus 2. So our plus, where are we at, did I say? We're at plus 6. Drops to a plus 4. And then we do have 1 attacking unit on lower elevation. So that plus 4 drops to just a plus 2. So plus 2 on the 4 row for melee combat. A 4... which is a hit. I was really hoping for an E result, but that's okay. We'll take the hit. Reduces him. All right, and then these 2 are going to attack their leader right here. So, charging here. I believe he's on the same. Yep. He's the lower level, though. Okay, so, kind of similar as before. 8 divided by 2 is a total of 4. We have, our leader, 2. We are both attacking, charging cavalry, so plus 2 plus 2, so total of plus 6. However, their ward leader lowers that to a plus 4, and then this unit is on a lower elevation, so only a plus 2. But a plus 2 on the 4 row. 6 plus 2 is 8, so that is eliminated. Beautiful. So what happens is, so his heavy cavalry is eliminated automatically. The leader, what happens is he is flipped over to his subordinate leader's side. Hastings, he takes over, and he is placed with the nearest unit. He's going to go ahead and stack with the infantry over here. And that was it for combat. So discard that shit, and on to the next. Seagrave activation, so that will be them. Now what we're going to do here, command and recovery. You'll notice our new ruler only has a new ward leader here, the subordinate leader, only has a 1 IR, which means these slingers that are 2 X's away, they are out of command. So they get an out of command marker on them. So that reduces their movement by half, and they can't enter or leave an enemy zone of control. So for them, they're kind of screwed, really. Okay, so any recovery, anything like that, he's adjacent, can't recover. Defensive missile fire, all we don't have any missile units down here. Offensive missile fire, all they have are the slingers over here, and they're out of range. Now we'll do a melee combat. Let's see, what we'll do is they're gonna have to try to combine their attack over here. So they're gonna try to combine their attack on this cavalry of Prince Edward right here. So they have a 2, 2, 2, 1, which would be 5 divided by 4, which is rounds down to 1. So just a 1, 1 on the row. All right, so check for the our modifiers here. Subordinate leader is only a +1. So +1, one or more units on a higher activation, or higher elevation. I think both of them are, so that's it. But it's a +2 because it's only one or more. So that's total +3. And then we are attacking an inactive cavalry with a charge marker. He has a charge marker on him, so it kind of leaves him vulnerable now. So that's a total +4. However, their ward leader is right here, -2, so it only is a +2. So a +2 on the 1 row. 4 + 2 is 6. That is a hit, just barely, but it is a hit. So this cavalry is reduced down. And charge marker stays on him there. And that's it for their melee combat. All right, Cornwall activate. Everyone's getting to activate this turn. So Cornwall gets to activate finally. He's been hanging out down here, and he definitely wants to get in on this action, so he's going to start charging up the hill. Check for command. Yep, everyone's in command. No need for any recovery. Go ahead and start moving. And they feel like everyone else has got it. He will probably... He'll just send, so 1, 2. He'll send him over here to fight the archer. Actually, he'll send him as well, just to really whoop on him. Boom. And other than that, they'll just continue up the hill. So there's a 4, 5. I'm going to get too far ahead, so I'll stop there. 1, 2, 3. And he stops there. 1, 2. I think he can go up, right? Oh, he can't. 1, 4. He can. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Stops right here. Yeah, that hill terrain starts messing things up a little bit. It definitely breaks up your line. It's not how I wanted to look. It's all messed up. Oh well, it happens. So, all right. That was our movement. So defensive missile fire. They will get to. They're gonna go ahead and they'll attack him right there. I think same level. Yep. So Sarcher's gonna attack him with a 2, and there's no modifiers. They're at the same level, same elevation, I should say. A 5 on the 2 is a hit, so he does reduce him. Oh, that sucks. Sucks for Cornwall. All right, now offensive missile fire. Doesn't have any. His archers over here. Can't shoot anybody. Okay, on to the melee combat. The only melee combat's going to happen is right here. So these units, and to him, 2, 4, 6. Divided by 2, it's 3. All right, so ward leader. Are they in range of the army leader too? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, too far away. So 2 for the ward leader. And then he's higher elevation. So that is a total of 4. And then infantry attacking a missile. There's 3 of them, so that's a total of +7. Total of +7. Has his leader here, -2, so only +5. Only. So +5 on the 3 row. So that's 9 on the 3 row. That is an elimination automatically, so he is straight up eliminated. Ooh, bummer for him. And with that, we get an advance after elimination. So we'll go ahead and move him up there. Perfect. That's it for Cornwall. And Declare gets to activate. All right, so check for command. Yep, everyone's in command. Recovery, no need. Let's go ahead and for movement wise, let's go ahead and move him. I'm just trying to think here. Well, Cornwall's coming. We got it. He's got to try to stop Cornwall, or try to anyway. So what he's going to do is he's going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. He's kind of stuck there now. And 4. He move here. And then 1, 2. A slinger action there. And then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that'll be it for his movement. Defensive missile fire. The only guy in range is this archer. However, he's shooting uphill and at a range of 2, which would be a -2, which if you look for the 2 row, which I can see it, there's no way for him to get a hit, so I'm not even going to roll for it. Something you learn after you play a game enough, right, guys? when it's not even pointless to even go for it. So that's it for defensive. Now we do have offensive. They do have a chance here. So we're going to do, this slinger is going to go ahead and attack this stack here. No pluses or minuses or anything like that. Straight die roll. He has a 2 combat factor. Oh, that is a hit. So this stack is reduced. Brutal. This archer here of declares could hit this stack of infantry of Cornwalls. However, remember, because already reduced, there's no chance for any sort of elimination, so he's not going to waste everyone's time. On to the melee combat. The only melee combat here is going to be this stack will attack the Cornwall actual leader here. Who is he on? A leader of... Oh, and he's uphill. Uh-oh. Could be bad for him. We'll see what happens. So, all right. Let's look at our modifiers here. By the way, it's 4 versus 2, so 4 divided by 2, I should say. It's a combat number of 2. Ward leader plus 2. Higher elevation, solo plus 4. And I think that's it. And then minus 2 for him, leader, so just a plus 2. Plus 2 on 2. Plus 2 on 2. 6 with under the 2 row. That is a hit. Okay, so what that does, that just reduces the cavalry that Cornwall is stacked with. The heavy cavalry is used from... Boom. But he's still chilling there. Okay. Not what Cornwall wanted to happen, but that's how it goes sometimes. All right. And end turn chit. So only one chit didn't get activated, which is the freebie, which have not happened yet. And that's the one I was talking about earlier, where free royal activation or free baron activation. So anyway, end turn. So Merle's charge markers. Let's go ahead and get rid of those bad boys. And I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap this video, but I will continue. I don't want to stop yet. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this video here. Call it a day on this video, and then I will have a part 2 for you guys. Is that all the charge markers? Yeah, go ahead and get those off. I think that's it. Yep. Game turn marker gets advanced to 9, and then obviously we want to go ahead and put all the chits back. So, yep, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this video. Hopefully you guys got a really good idea how the game works. Again, I will have a part 2 where I finish up this battle. We'll see what happens, but other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing In the Name of Justice, the Battle of Lewes 1264 in action. Again, I already have my recon video, the unboxing, if you want to see all the, everything get unboxed. And then I will have an overview and review coming up. I will also have, like I said, a second part to this. You guys will get to see this battle continue if you want to. So let me know below, like the video if you did like it. Comment below if you didn't. Just let me know, what you would like to see different, would like to see better next game. You know the deal, guys. So until next time, later.